One greetings from the high 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you for joining me. Hope you all are having a wonderful start to a brand new week. We're going to go ahead and give you information out of Memphis, Tennessee. This is a two-part live pertaining to the third suspect arrested in the conspiracy to murder Young Dolph. Very famous rapper who is no longer with us, murdered last year. I'm also going to bring you information pertaining to one of the suspects that is already incarcerated. He wanted to be moved from his said location in jail to the penal farm, and I'm going to tell you why I think he wanted to be moved. So let's play that commentary first, and then we'll get into the name of the third suspect. Second part of this live is pertaining to the murder of Camille McKinney. She was a 3-year-old toddler dumped in a dumpster a few years ago, and 2 suspects were arrested in that murder. The child was retrieved from a landfill, and one of the suspects, Mr. Patrick Stallworth, went to trial a month or so ago for kidnapping. He was found guilty. The second suspect, Derick Brown, started for court today in Birmingham, Alabama. She's also facing the same charge, and they are also facing state charges for murder of that said toddler. Thank you so very much for joining me. Let's start with case number 1. Young Dolph murder suspect asked judge for transfer due to safety concerns. This was uploaded 10 days ago. I'm a bit late on this information, but I'm going to tie it into the suspect that's just been indicted last week, Mr. Hernandez Govan. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans.
Anniversary of Young Dolph's murder approaches. The wheels of justice are beginning to turn.
Johnson, good morning, sir. Good morning. Smith, good morning, sir. Good morning.
In an effort to move things forward, Judge Lee Coffey gave both Justin Johnson and Cornelia Smith and their attorneys till January 20th to provide a status update on where things stand.
Everybody is aware that the case has been pending for almost a year, and we'd like to get this case tried.
Yes, amen. Get it on.
Prior to today's hearing, Johnson hired a new attorney named Luke Evans. Johnson is also requesting a move from 201 Poplar to the penal farm in East Memphis due to safety concerns.
As his attorney, want him to be in the most optimal position to aid me in his defense, and want him firing on all cylinders.
Ultimately, Judge Coffey says that decision will be made by the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. If transferred, Johnson will be held on lockdown for all but half an hour every day.
Once you get an answer, let Mr. Evans, Mr. Hageman know, and we'll address it on the next set.
Another thing officials say has delayed the case from moving forward is the amount of evidence. Paul Hagerman, who is the chief prosecutor for the Shelby County DA's office, says it's extensive.
I'd say thousands of pages, numerous videos, audio recordings of statements and things like this. It's hours and hours for attorneys to go through. It's not a small case.
While those findings are not expected to come out in January's hearing, all involved expect progress to be made between now and then. Reporting downtown, Jordan James, WREG News.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is a 10-day-old commentary. Mr. Johnson, you want to move out that jail because you done told on somebody, I do believe. Did you tell on Mr. Hernandez Govan that he hired you and those other co-conspirators to shoot Young Dolph? Because I believe that's why you want to move out that jail to the penal farm. But you should know that people's arms can reach far, sweetheart. Because just like he found you, we'll believe he's behind this orchestration of a hit against a rapper. He can find somebody to touch you in that jail or at the penal farm. Shut up, Queen. That's why you want to move, Mr. Johnson. Did you sell your soul to the devil by 1, killing Mr. Young Dolph? Number 2, being a fool as a $2 henchman to kill this man for no damn reason. And it is also a rumor that I heard on the YouTube streets, which I don't really like repeating. He said, she said often, but somebody was saying on their network that Mr. Govan has ties to Yo Gotti's brother. Now that is not good. Please tell me that's not true, Mr. Yo Gotti's brother. Because then one would have to say, then if we're going to believe that, Mr. Yo Gotti, did you want Young Dolph deceased, and why? Up and coming, making money, making moves, drawing too much attention in a city that you are also from. Was it personal? And I would be very disappointed to hear that this is true. Because God forbid they will tie, if they choose to tie Mr. Govan to your brother, then the link will also lead to your doorstep. That would not be vainglorious. Woo! Who knew the rap game was this serious? Condolences to Mr. Young Dolph's family, children. He left behind kids and a mate. And this street life has got to stop because it has no direction. You're going to die in them streets or you're going to die in jail. Take your pick. It's only so much commissary you can get for 20, 30, 40 years or life. It's a terrible place to be. It doesn't have to go that way. Find a direction. Let's talk about Mr. Govan. Mr. Govan, are you African American or are you Cuban? I'm curious. I hear that your daughter was just murdered. So now we can say, is this possibility of sins of the father, that your sins reached all the way to Houston, Texas, and somebody decided to shoot up a car that your daughter was in? That's what the word on the street is. And she died recently. So somebody decides to pay your daughter and her associates a visit. Why? I do not know. I don't know you or your daughter, but I can say how ironic that your child would be snuffed out in them streets and her daddy is now indicted for conspiring to kill Young Dolph. Do the math. God don't like ugly, perhaps. Or is it just the Reaper likes to use people and then turn around and pay them a visit in the end? Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie, 129 Cash App. All chat stickers are welcome during this live. Thank you so much for following the content. Let's get this party started with this other nonsense pertaining to this Mr. Govan. Ooh, he's a mean-looking son of a something too, baby. This was uploaded 3 days ago in the YouTube queue. Third suspect indicted in Young Dolph's death. WREG is the source for this information. And the information I just brought you pertaining to Mr. Johnson, it was also by WREG Channel 3. It is the main source for information for shenanigans and foolishness down in the M. Lord have me, Jesus. Y'all got to stop this killing down there. It's outrageous and it's out of control. Some people trying to live down in Memphis. That is where my mother's people are from. And it is ridiculous, all this murder and mayhem. Please stop the killing. Find you something to do. Get a job, go to school. Be productive. That's for you young ones and you old heads too. Life is short. Let's roll with it, everybody.
Breaking news, a third suspect has been indicted in connection to the murder of Memphis rapper Young Dolph. Hello, I'm Greg Hurst.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Skurlock. WREG's Bria Jones joins us live now from outside the Shelby County Criminal Justice Center with these late-breaking details.
Well, Greg and Stephanie, according to District Attorney Steve Mulroy, they have now indicted the person they believe ordered the hit on Young Dolph. Tonight, new developments in the murder of Young Dolph. Just a week shy of the 1-year anniversary of the 36-year-old rapper's slaying outside Makita's Cookies in South Memphis. 43-year-old Hernandez Govan now indicted by a grand jury for first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. These pages from the indictment list the victims as Dolph, whose real name was Adolph Thornton Jr., and Marcus Thornton.
Mr. Govan has been indicted and is in custody for being involved in the Young Dolph murder. He played the role of the person who solicited the murder.
We asked District Attorney Steve Mulroy if Govan paid the other two murder suspects, Justin Johnson, known as Straight Drop, and Cornelius Smith, who were arrested and charged earlier this year.
What we are alleging in our indictment is that he asked for the murder to take place.
Under what grounds do you believe he solicited Young Dolph's murder?
I really can't go into any details about the evidence.
Memphis City Councilman J.B. Smiley, who fought to rename a street after Young Dolph, says the news is bittersweet.
We're talking about someone who literally changed the lives of almost everyone he came in contact with. But that type of impact, I don't think there's any way that you could, satisfy people.
He, like so many others, is hoping everyone involved is brought to justice.
And there's nothing we can do to, bring Dolph back. But what we can do is we can deter violent crime, and we also can punish those individuals involved in this matter.
Now, we did ask if more arrests could be expected, a question D.A. Mulroy says he could not comment on at this time. For now, reporting live outside 201 Poplar, Bria Jones, WREG News, Channel 3.
All right, WREG Channel 3 is the source of this information. The orchestrator, sir, why would you orchestrate the murder of Young Dolph? What did he do to you? What type of dealings did you have with him that you had the need to feel this man no longer deserved life? Is this gang related? Is this set related? Is this a Memphis beef? Is this, I don't like the fact he's up on top. The people I hang with don't like him. They wanted him dead. What are we saying here? Well, Nubian, in the streets, you don't have to actually listen to rap to get dead. So long as you're in the streets and you're affiliated with people, you can end up dead. You could be sitting on the front porch. You could be sitting on a car, in a car. You could be at a club. You could be walking down the street. It's part of urban life. Many people are dead in the inner city just because they lived in the city and they was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or in the right place and the perpetrator came in their peripheral. It's serious out here. You can die a multitude of ways now because people are not strapped right. And prayers to those who just perished at the University of Virginia. 3 football players were gunned down, 2 wounded by another fellow student who allegedly played football back in 2018. So please pray for the University of Virginia. Those who perished. Thank you for joining me. Let's go back in time to the others who were indicted in this saga. Let's talk about the third man. They've got so many people arrested, you can't even keep up with all these people. This was 8 months ago. Let's see what this clown talking about here. ABC 24, Memphis is the source.
Okay. You have a Tennessee handgun permit, yes or no? Your next court date is March 9th. Ms. Burns? Ms. Burns, you're here on 2 separate felony cases. The first one, you're charged with aggravated assault, 4 counts. That carries 3 to 15 years if you are convicted. Do you understand? Your bond on that case is $80,000. On your second case, you're charged with a Class C felony, theft of property over $10,000. That carries 3 to 15 years if you are convicted. Your bond on that case is $20,000. You'll need a lawyer to represent you on those cases. Do you have a Tennessee handgun permit, yes or no? Are you going to be able to hire a lawyer?
This information you're listening to is pertaining to a Devin Burns. This was a bond for him. He was named a person of interest in the Young Dolph murder case, was set at $100,000, and he's due back in court. That was back in February. I'm just playing you any content related to the storyline. Thank you for joining me. Lord have mercy.
All right, so you need to talk to your family about hiring a lawyer. You make these bonds aggregate, they with $100,000. There will have to be a source hearing before you can post $100,000 in bond. Do you understand that? I will set this on Monday.
So if this is related to Young Dolph, $100,000 bond, don't you pay 10%? So if you're in the streets hanging with the right crowd, I would assume somebody could bond you out, because this doesn't look like one of the guys that was arrested. I don't know. Maybe he grew a little hair. I'll go back. $10,000 is chump change, considering if you murdered a rap star, somebody should have paid you well. Just saying. Sorry about that.
4 counts. 4 counts. Okay. You need some explanation about that. Can I have that jacket? We could just. That was the add-on jacket. Ms. Burns, the affidavit of complaint on the 4 counts of aggravated assault alleged that
She can't read it. Lord have mercy.
it's alleged that on January 5th, at some businesses on Park Avenue, the complainant, the owner of Foy Salon and a tax business, alleged that you were armed with a firearm, pacing in front of the location,
I don't know what this
threatening
is
to kill
about.
everyone inside of them.
Ooh, Lord have mercy, people.
Also, that shots were fired by you towards the businesses where there were children and that's the allegation. That's the allegation, Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns. That's why you need a lawyer. You need a lawyer, sir.
He's steady talking. He doesn't know. He's supposed to have an attorney, so why I'm talking?
Your case is until Monday for you to hire a lawyer. February 28th for attorneys. Once you have a lawyer hired, he or she will be able to request a preliminary hearing for you.
Enough of that. Let me go back. I don't even know what that has to do with any damn thing. They talking about assaults and other kind of crazy nonsense. These are the original 3 that were arrested. This was 11 months ago. 3 men have been charged after police say they shot one person during Young Dolph's vigil on Thursday. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about them either. I was trying to, the original 2. And I can't find what I'm looking for. Oh, Lordy. These are all these people. I played content from 10 days ago with the 2 that was in court. I was trying to find the original charges. Let's go back to how this all started. 10 months ago. So it can make some kind of sense.
We have a breaking news update topping News Channel 3 at 4. 3 men now face charges in the murder of the popular Memphis rapper, Young Dolph.
This afternoon, U.S. Marshals released the name of a third person involved, Shondell Barnett. Investigators say he was in the car with Justin Johnson when it was stopped in Indiana. Cornelius Smith was already being held on other charges in Shelby County. This afternoon, law enforcement held a news conference providing more insight into their investigation. Thank you for joining us. I'm April Thompson.
I'm Alex Coleman. WREG Shay Arthur was there and is live now with what she's learned. Shay.
Hey, Alex, April. Yeah, we did get some insight, but tonight there are still many questions in this case. One of those questions is, what is the motive? But one thing was very clear. The public's help was essential. It was crucial in this case. Since a reward was offered, law enforcement received, get this, more than 500 tips, which ultimately led to those arrests.
Amen.
Memphis Police Chief C.J. Davis says her office has enough information to make sure the men her team believes killed Young Dolph will see their day in court, but says she can't provide specifics pending indictments. When asked about a theory on a motive,
not just yet. There has been just a wealth of tips and information and leads and putting this case together. Lots of rumors and innuendo, but we're really trying to sift through to the truth and what the real motives are. We're just not ready to put that out there right now.
even before the reward announcement, marshals logged hundreds of hours. U.S. Marshal Tyrese Miller says they received more than 500 tips, and those tips took them all over as they searched for 23-year-old Justin Johnson.
We went to Indianapolis, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, and Hampton, Virginia, checking different addresses and following up on tips.
His team got a tip yesterday Johnson was on a highway in Indiana. The marshal's office there picked him up. They were able to stop his vehicle as it pulled into a truck stop in Brazil, Indiana, nearly 6 hours from Memphis. It's unclear if Johnson had a specific reason for escaping to Indiana.
He never really stayed in one place very long.
Once marshals took Johnson into custody, they discovered Shondell Barnett with him. He's originally from Memphis, but lives in Dallas.
Shondell Barnett is a person who we believe was providing assistance to Justin since we've been looking for him. And he now faces charges of accessory after the fact to first-degree murder.
The two men now need to be extradited back to Memphis. As for more possible arrests in the case,
it is very possible. It is very possible. Once we, continue to conduct this investigation, there's no telling where it could potentially lead. There could be other individuals that are implicated in this particular homicide.
In April, Alex, right now it is unclear when those two men will be brought back to Memphis. Of course, we will keep you posted every step of the way. We're live downtown tonight. Shay Arthur, WREG, Channel 3.
All right. So this was 10 months ago. So one was after the fact, which makes no sense to me. You live in Houston, Texas. Why didn't you stay in Houston? Why are you riding around with somebody who's killed a rapper? That looks so gay to me. No disrespect. Why is a grown man following in behind another grown man? If you have a way of helping somebody, you can help them without riding around with them. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why the hell would you risk your own livelihood to ride around with a man that just murdered a rapper, or anybody for that matter? If you've got some money you want to send them some money. You got somebody you want to give them the money, give the money to somebody else to give to him. However, but why would you want to be with the person? So that would make a person think you had some involvement. If I'm not going to leave my home in Houston, how'd you get tangled up in Memphis to then be on the run with this person all the way up in Indianapolis? If you weren't involved some type of way. But she says after the fact. Okay. Ooh, Lord, which is so ever. Let's get some information on Mr. Govan. He was the first part of my story that I played. He's the third suspect in this because they believe they're looking for another person. I'm like, how many people are you all looking for? This is crazy to me. Dear God. Govan is believed to be the orchestrator for hiring the hit. The person that did the hiring, Mr. Hernandez Govan. Going to bring you said information about him, what we have on this fella and who he is and his affiliation to this case. As that lady asked earlier, reporter, what's the motive? District Attorney didn't want to get into the details. But I got a feeling they know a little more. And thank God for the 500 tips that came in. That's a lot of tips on a murder case. Like, as they said, some's probably gossip, innuendo. But as we say in the street, there's probably a little bit of truth wrapped up in there. Okay, everybody.
He was the first.
Did you ever think that
I don't know why this thing keeps playing for some reason. Jesus. Now, when I want it to play, it won't play. News 5 is the source.
The best. Ready, set, and inspired by the incredible true story. This is war.
Yeah, just don't want to shut up for some reason. Strange. All right, News 5, NBC is the source. The district attorney's office gave the third indictment to a suspect accused to be the mastermind in Young Dolph's murder. Shelby County District Attorney Steve Morroy said 43-year-old Hernandez Govan allegedly solicited the murder of the rapper. Govan's case information indicates that his conspiracy to commit first-degree murder charge dates back to June 2021, which suggests Govan premeditated to kill Young Dolph months in advance. He was indicted Thursday by a grand jury on 3 charges: first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. He is the third suspect in connection to Young Dolph's murder. Morroy believes Govan allegedly set the whole plan up. We are alleging that he solicited the murder. He caught in the hit and set in motion the events that led to Young Dolph's death, said Morroy. Justin Johnson, 25, and Cornelius Smith, 32, Dolph's accused gunmen, also remain behind bars at Shelby County Jail without bond. Their next hearing is scheduled for January 20th. Justin Johnson, the one that he's 25, all these are black men that we're speaking of that I know of. He's the one that wants to be moved from the jail. I played you that commentary earlier. He wants to be moved from the jail to the penal farm. I believe he wants to be moved because he possibly told on Govan as the one who hired the hit, and boom, voila. Snitched on him, I'm alleging. Wants to be moved because he knew that man would be coming into that jail. Shut your mouth. A court date for Govan has not been set. Action 5 News is the source. What a story. Govan, you're 43 years of age, soliciting the murder of a rapper. Why? They believe you premeditated this murder, set it up months in advance. Why? I heard gossip that perhaps this is pertaining to Yo Gotti, another rapper. I hope not. I hope for Yo Gotti's sake that you did not talk to your brother, who then talked to Govan, and then Govan talked to these goons, and they killed that man. Because sometimes the orchestrator will get just as much time as the hitman. Did you not know that, Govan? You're a little bit older than these boys. You're old enough to be their fathers, at least a 25-year-old. So who's the dummy here? But somebody gave you up. And the fact that it's been almost a year, you're just now coming to justice, there's possible reason why they never told on you, because they feared you. And as I told the chat in the beginning of this live, it has been said that your daughter was just murdered in Houston. A rapper, a female rapper, gunned down sitting in a car with some people. Do not know if she was the intended victim or not, but nonetheless, she is no longer alive. So one could say the sins of the father came down on the daughter. How about that? Lord have mercy. Imagine that. The sins of the father reached all the way to Houston, Texas for the Reaper to pay his daughter a visit because he ordered the hit of Young Dolph. Then that would also make us wonder, have you put out hits on other people, or have you murdered other people yourself? Have you, Mr. Govan, murdered other people yourself and or solicited murders of other human beings? Just curious. Very sad. What was the motive for murdering Young Dolph? What did he do to you? What did he do to somebody that you know of? Or it was just a money thing? So I'm trying to figure out how much money was paid, because let's go here. Let's just say Yo Gotti's brother came to you and said, hey, I need you to kill Young Dolph. Or whoever did it, let's say. Let's say you did it for somebody else. So let's say Pookie called you. That's number one. Then you went and found some goons. You're number two. 2 goons are already locked up. That's 4. And allegedly they're looking for somebody else. That would be 5. Then we had the one young dude that was arrested for after the fact riding around with Mr. Justin. That would be number 6. Then we had 3 arrested that just randomly decided to shoot at people standing outside a business at a Young Dolph vigil. What's their take? Do you all see how ridiculous this is? Just a very sad situation. All these different people being named. Hey, Pookie, I want you to go do this. Then Pookie, he goes and gets somebody else. So I want to know, how much did everybody get paid? Because I done named a lot of folks already. So what was the due bill? What was the due bill? Please explain to the queen. Brother, what did you pay Hernandez? Hernandez, what did you pay Johnson and the other little fella? And see how stupid you boys were. You're making some trap ass video with the fucking getaway car in your video. Then you were stupid enough to stash the car at a house that you'd have been around, hanging around, filming around, and Govan, they got you tied to the same street where the fucking car was stashed. You all are stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. You're stupid for orchestrating the hit. Because 9 times out of 10, it's somebody over you that wanted it besides you going to them. This is about 4, 5, 5th step process. So now let's see who Govan's going to implicate if it's not personal on his own. When you start counting 4 or 5 people, your head starts to spin. That's why I don't like talking about takeoff and all that nonsense, because it pisses me off, because I shouldn't even be having to discuss it in the first place. And I'm tired of the stories and the gossip and the he said and the she said, because what everybody is not focusing on, this is a human life you're talking about. And all these fucking videos going on and on about this snatch and chain, this, he pushed this one, he shoved this one. This is what I hate, street shit. I don't like it. And it takes me back to being around street people, because this is what the fuck they do. They always worrying about the wrong damn thing. Somebody else's business. It's always some he said and some she said. It ain't never about nothing important. A man is dead probably over nothing. Kind of like what happened in Houston 2 weeks ago with Mr. Ball. Take off. Absolutely nothing. You can't bring them back. Can't go back. That's why you have to be careful the company you keep. You don't know people. Everybody's not your friend. But as I told somebody, when people grow up in the street, they still hold that mentality. Doesn't matter that they have millions of dollars. Doesn't matter that they have a nice house, nice home, condo, jewelry on. That has nothing to do with the mindset. If your mind is still in the street, you're going to have a fucking problem. You're going to have problems. Arguing over who should have been where, shouldn't have been there. As one of my male friends said today, well, you can't say, take off of him, shouldn't have been over there. But as my mom said, yeah, they shouldn't have been there. I'm going to go on and say it now because look how fucked up it is. All this is stupid. You can't move like you move when you were a regular person. And it's sad because you see famous people going to the store. They got to go grocery shopping. They got to go eat. They got to pay a phone bill. They got to go do normal things that other people do. Maybe troubleshoot their phone so they take the phone in. It's all the same. You got to live. And as I said to somebody earlier, 2 weeks ago, I said, well, damn, is it going to be to the point where a person has to have a bodyguard just to go to the grocery store? Is that how serious it's going to get for famous people? So that means they're never going to have a private life. Can't take a walk in the park, can't walk the dog, can't go outside the door. Got to have somebody to go to the fucking mailbox with them. So that means basically you got to have security living in your house. This is bad. This is just absolutely terrible. But I do not believe in people riding around in drop tops because it's dangerous. As with the case out of Houston, you're riding around with these people you think are your friends, going live on IG, and then hours later, your nephew's dead over whatever happened. I had a bad feeling when I saw the IG video. I said, this ain't no good. Riding around like can't nobody run up to you, shoot you in your head, shoot the car up. People know the fucking car. They know the car. Could have got shot just driving down the street. But instead, the Reaper met you at the bowling alley. See, all this is stupid. And the Reaper met this man at a fucking cookie shop where they got 12 different versions. You were working, you wasn't working. Nobody was behind the counter. I mean, just stupid stuff. It's all the same. It's stupid. Prayers for Young Dolph's family, children, justice, and whoever else is involved. They're going to probably give you up so you could be looking for your indictment too, whoever you are, because somebody talking. And I believe Johnson is talking. That's why he wants out that jail, because he knows Govan was on his way possibly to the same jail. And he don't want no problems before going to trial, if he makes it to trial. And as I said, if a person has a reach long enough, they can get you killed in that jail, even 23 hours lockdown. This is a mess. So let's see now if Govan's going to talk and tell who hired him. Because I got a feeling this ain't just Govan's doing by himself. Somebody hired Govan. And he hired the goons. And the rest was history. Next story. The murder of Camille McKinney, better known as Cupcake. This is a story coming out of Birmingham, Alabama. I don't have the latest update to play as far as audio, so I'm just going to read you some content. Please check out my extensive library on this case. I went all in a few years ago when this little baby girl went missing out of Birmingham, Alabama. African-American baby girl, 3 years of age, found in a landfill, dumped like trash. It's the kind of world we live in. No rest for the weary. ABC 3340 is the source. Federal trial begins for woman accused of kidnapping Camille Cupcake McKinney. A jury was selected Monday in Tuscaloosa for the federal trial of a suspect in the kidnapping of a Birmingham 3-year-old 3 years ago. So Tuscaloosa, that means they moved the trial somewhere else. Ain't that about no good? Derick Brown faces federal kidnapping charges in the abduction of Camille Cupcake McKinney. Cupcake was taken in Birmingham back in October 2019. Her body was found 10 days later. The jury was selected and seated Monday afternoon, which is today, around 1:30 p.m. It included a total of 16 people with alternates. Nearly 2/3 of the jury were men. The prosecution and defense both gave their opening statements. The prosecution told the jury what they were going to hear and see throughout the trial. The prosecution said evidence will be difficult to see, but will show Brown and her boyfriend, Patrick Stallworth, conspired to kidnap, which led to Cupcake's death. Attorney said drugs were found in Cupcake's system, and they would have expert witnesses testify to what the reaction to those drugs in a 3-year-old would have. The one thing Cupcake needed was hope, said the prosecution. During the defense's opening statements, it was stated over and over again that Brown stayed in the car and minded her own business. The defense put the blame on her co-conspirator Stallworth, who was tried separately. In the opening statement from the defense, they admitted Brown had drugs in her system, such as methamphetamine, but stated she was dozed off and had no part in the kidnapping. Since this is a federal case, we cannot take cameras into the courtroom. Media was seated behind Brown while we couldn't see her face during the first day of trial. She appeared to be alert and attentive to what was being said in the courtroom. After opening statements, the courtroom heard testimonies from witnesses such as Cupcake's mother, April Thomas, her cousin, Shanita Long, and a former Birmingham police officer, Derick Bradley. They each testified to what happened the day Cupcake disappeared and were cross-examined by the defense. The trial is set to continue Tuesday in Judge Scott Kugler's courtroom. Both Stallworth and Brown will have separate state trials at a later date. During the state trial, this will be murder charges for the child. Today's trial is kidnapping. Mr. Stallworth has already been found guilty for kidnapping the said baby girl. Today was Derick's day in court. First day in court, jury seated. We will see what happens. 9 times out of 10, she'll also be found guilty unless the jury decides to sway. Then after this kidnapping trial, she and Mr. Stallworth, both who are being tried separately, will face state charges of murder. Each are facing 2 trials. Mr. Patrick has already done his kidnapping charge where he was found guilty. Derick went to court today for kidnapping charge. Later, she will go to trial for state charges of murder, and he will also. This was a very baffling case, probably my first case where I engaged with the audience many years ago, a few years ago, when I first came to YouTube that same summer. It was heart-wrenching. But I stand on that case the way I stand now. Here you hear them say the mother and the cousin testified to what exactly? I said it. They testified to what? Because we already know that you was in that trial even today lying about where the hell you were. And I'm going to say that until the end. And I find it very strange that Birmingham police didn't try the biological mother for neglect. Because my understanding, you left your children out all damn day to play in the projects. And I have a problem with that. And nobody's taking away the fact that these 2 monsters found these children, but they wouldn't have found that child. How about that? It's going to be bad for somebody's child because they were eager to get a girl. But the point is, April Thomas, they wouldn't have got your 3-year-old because your 3-year-old was playing out in the dirt with the cousin we now found out from Patrick's kidnapping trial, because your stinking ass cousin, she testified, finally decided to tell the world in a courtroom, of course, that was her child that Cupcake was playing with, as she stated in court. Her best friend. Well, luckily for the best friend, she didn't get kidnapped and murdered. Because they could have kidnapped the other child too, Shanita. 2 trap queens. Too busy doing something else to watch your kids. So I find it strange when they repeat this shit. They testified and told the jury and the judge what? Because they didn't tell the truth. You know they didn't tell the truth because they ain't never tell nobody to this day what they were doing for them kids to be out playing all damn day along with the brothers and other children. Cupcake urinating on herself, using the bathroom outside. Very undignified for a girl child to be outside pulling her britches down. I'm going to say that because people in the audience need to know the truth. I followed it all the way to the very end. Every piece of gossip, he said, she said, half-truths, new truths, old truths. You all were negligent of those children. That's why Derick Brown and Patrick Stallworth were able to infiltrate and kidnap the children, the one child anyway. And sadly, they were going to kidnap somebody that day, and they did. That's why you don't leave your children unattended all damn day. Children playing behind a building that they don't even live in. Nobody's watching them. Hell yeah, anything can happen to them. Could have got ate by a dog, ran over by a car. Children rough playing. Anything can happen. Derick Brown, you know you were there in that lot. You and Patrick. It shows two people on a surveillance camera walking by the children. One person walks by, then a second person walks by, and the children follow behind them. I do believe you are the second person in that video footage. You have a distinctive walk, because I believe you are possibly pigeon-toed. As far off as that picture video was, it showed two people walking by and engaging with the children. You got to be a low son of a something to drug a child. Allegations of sexual assault, but they said they couldn't prove that when they got the body. But that's your version of what he did to the little girl. Do not know if that's true or not. He blames you for suffocating the baby. You blame him for doing shit to the baby and hurting the baby, putting the baby in a trash bag and dumping her in the adjacent vacant apartment complex in a construction dumpster. Wow. Hell of a way for a baby to go out. And it's terrible to even think about somebody killing a kid, drugging a kid. You went all the way with this baby. Your DNA, his DNA, and the baby's DNA was found on a mattress pad, allegedly with blood. Now, put that on paper. I don't even want to try to figure out what that was and what it was all about, because I don't even want my thought process to have to go there. And I was very weary when I talked about this case. I became physically and mentally drained, losing sleep, bad dreams, because I couldn't fathom how some black people would stoop this low to kidnap a child, drug a child, suffocate a child, and even the worst, if indeed y'all touched her inappropriately and did other nasty things with her, was hard to even fathom that. I won't doubt that you all probably did do something nasty to the baby, because what was the purpose of drugging her? For what? You drug a baby so they won't fight back, but you still will have more power because she's 3. This is jacked up. But I bring you this Cupcake case because I told you all I would follow to the end, those who have followed my content for about 3 years. I bring you this case because there was hope at the end of the tunnel for finding the child. And by the grace of God, they found her, not the way they wanted, of course, but she was retrieved out of a landfill. So I bring this to people who are following my content pertaining to Quentin Simon out of Savannah, Georgia, that anything is possible. She lied in there for 10 days. I want to say she must have been in the dumpster possibly for 10 days, because naturally the dumpster would have to have been filled first before being dumped to the landfill. So maybe it was easier to find her because, one, I believe Derick Brown told authorities where they had taken her, which was right next door. So I believe that child sat in the original dumpster for some time before it was actually dumped. I think that's why it was easier to find her in the landfill, unlike Quentin Simon. Somebody made sure the trash got picked up when he was disposed of. And then it was a week or more before they even went in the landfill to search for the baby boy. And you have to count all the different dump trucks dumping trash and tons of trash to make it hard to find an itty bitty spider. And then you have to count what's done inside of the dump truck to the trash before it makes it to the landfill. Why did you all do it? She was just an innocent person. It's bad enough she has mangy parents, fighting and fussing all the time, hanging in the street, didn't give a damn about nothing. And then here you two demons come along, taking advantage of the situation, the two children playing unattended with some other children. It's very sickening. It leads me to wonder what else you all have done to children. Patrick, from my understanding, doesn't have a criminal record, but I believe there's something off with him. His appearance is very feminine to me. He appears to be a very feminine man, possibly bisexual, but he's sick. Because anytime you're taking up with little children, your ass is ill. And Derick, you're ill. You've lost all your children to your aunt because you abused your children. So the state was involved in removing your children. And now the children will have to find out that their mother is also a baby killer. And if they don't know, imagine having to tell a child, your mother is in prison for killing a child, an infant, damn near an infant. She was a toddler, still a baby. That's a terrible thing to have to learn about your mother. But you abused your children. There's alleged that you put one of your children in a washing machine. I do not know if there was water in the machine or that the machine was running, but nonetheless, it's cruel. And then you went on a high-speed chase after going to your aunt's house, kidnapping the children out of her house at gunpoint. And you wrecked your car, could have killed yourself and your children and other pedestrians or drivers. So you were a cannonball. And some people could say, oh, I get it. She missed her kids. She wanted her kids. She wanted her kids back. But look what she did. Because you got to count, one, what she did for the kids to get out of her possession. Two, how did she behave to try to get the kids back? Three, was she able to get them back? Four, she went into a woman's house with a gun. Anything could have happened. The woman could have tried to fight her. She could have shot the lady, shot the kids. Then she goes on a high-speed chase. Is this somebody that deserves to have their children back? Hell to the no. And then later, you're accused of kidnapping and drugging and killing a kid. So then one would have to use their discretion. There's no way you deserve to have your children back if you would kill this innocent little girl. So now I'm going to ask you, Derick Brown, why did you kill Cupcake? Was it because you were angry? You saw a cute little girl playing outside. You missed your children. You wanted your children. You wanted revenge against somebody's child. F them. They took my kids. I'm going to take this little girl. What was the reason? Or is it a combination of retribution because your kids were in foster care with your aunt, and two, you wanted to play funny games with your boyfriend and this baby, which is even more sadistic, to have a female pedophile hanging with a male pedophile. But as I said, no sexual assault has been mentioned during testimony of the kidnapping trial of Patrick Stower. Any evidence, no evidence was found of any type of sexual assault, but we also have to count the fact that the baby had been in a dumpster. So what would you actually find? Because we don't even know what shape the baby was in when she was taken out of the dumpster. It has not been relayed. And I can only imagine the pictures they're showing in the courtroom and people and family having to look at those pictures of a girl child being squished up in a dumpster, then in the landfill. You all some cold motherfuckers, man. So it makes me wonder, what else have you all done before the arrest of this kidnapping murder of Camille McKinney? Derick Brown, have you ever sexually assaulted your children? Any other children? Same question for Patrick Stallworth. Have you ever sexually assaulted any other children? Because you all were out hunting a girl, and you don't hunt a girl or boy just because you miss having children. Most people are not going to believe that. There's a reason for the season, and I believe it is a nefarious reason. You all were looking to play funny games with the girl child because testimony came in a month or so about you all hanging around a school, and the girls you approached took off running. By the grace of God, you all didn't force them in the car, probably too scared. That's why you picked up Cupcake, because she's an itty bitty spider, easy to conceal and put in an SUV. She willingly went. The girls older probably would have fought you, draw too much attention. And I do believe there was surveillance to show you and Derick in a truck near these girls. And we already know when people are approaching children, they're not approaching them to be friendly. It's for nefarious reasons. So I won't doubt you did something sexual in nature to the girl child. And that's Derick's version from day one that you did, Patrick. And I won't doubt she helped participate. Both of you disgusting to me. Because nobody deserves what you did to that little girl. Whether you're a child or you're an adult, you don't do it to a child, and you don't do it to an adult, and you don't do it to the elderly. It is despicable when you decide to violate the human body, to take what does not belong to you sexually, because it would affect the person mentally, physically, and God forbid the ultimate crime, which is murder. You all are spirit breakers. You would leave a human to not have faith in humanity, because to violate a child, how could anybody have faith in the human race? There's no way you could. There's no way you could. Will they find Derick Brown guilty of kidnapping? We will see. Will possibly be a short trial. It won't be winded, because Patrick's was not winded. I'll bring you the said information as it plays out in court each day. I will bring you a rendering of what happened in court. As you heard in this commentary, there are no cameras in federal cases. No cameras in the courtroom. I really wish there was. I'd like to see what you all look like in your facial expressions while people are testifying to give the said information. What a travesty. The child had jacked up parents, ignorant parents with ignorant and vile behavior that played out on social media. And then here comes these two monsters, whisk her off to her final destination, which was death. There are no guarantees in life. That's why you have to be careful of your surroundings. Each story I bring you is a story of mistrust, deceit, foolishness, mayhem, macabre. You don't know people. A man is minding his business in Memphis, Tennessee to go buy cookies. Been in the community donating to end up dead in a cookie store by some thirsty, low-life, non-having motherfucking factoring bums. And a child out playing unattended in the projects, lured away by candy and sweet talk to end up drugged, God knows what else, suffocated, and then murdered and put in a trash bag in an adjoining apartment building that was vacant, being remodeled into a construction dumpster, later taken to the landfill. Such a short life. See, there are no guarantees. Whether you are 3 or you are 36. Isn't that interesting? Both African American. One's a rapper at the prime of his life, and the other one is at the start of her life at 3. Isn't that interesting how things can turn out and go against you? One didn't get a start, and one didn't get a finish. See, you don't know how you're going to leave here. That's why you have to be careful the company you keep and the places you go and patronize, because anybody can end up a victim. Somebody don't like you, somebody plotting, somebody infiltrating, somebody setting you up, somebody stalking. It can go a multitude of ways. Somebody goes to work mad. Somebody's mad in traffic. Somebody's mad in an apartment complex, condo association. It doesn't matter. You can meet the maker any kind of way. People are evil. Please pray for the African-American football players murdered at the University of Virginia, Charlottesville. They've had a lot of negative things coming out of that university in the past years. 3 boys were gunned down to their death by a fellow athlete student, and 2 others were wounded. Prayers to their families and the community and the staff and the students at that university. Prayers for Young Dolph's family. And prayers for those who actually care for Camille McKinney. I don't have any respect for the mother or the father, so I'm very leery when I say family. Prayers for the Tom Brown community, and prayers for those children and all children in Birmingham and all around the world. Because sadly, these children are on their own out here. They have people who really don't give a fuck about them, and they let them roam around like they're baby adults, but they are not. And you have to watch your children. You're going to turn your head at some point, but you can't explain to me a 3-year-old out all damn day. Too little to be out all day. It's not 10 or 12. No toddler should be running around from daylight till night and urinating outside, and everybody thinks that's okay. It's not. And I don't give a free pass to that mammy, the cousin, the daddy, nobody. Because you showed us what you were about on social media. Too busy wanting to do what people do right now, arguing on YouTube and Facebook when your baby's dead. See, I keep trying to tell y'all, you want to know how the child lived in life? Look at how their parents act after death. That's how you know how they were living in life. Watch how the parents behave after death. And that will show you what type of life the children had while they were breathing. Nothing. Nothing as parents. Nothing as family members. Because if all you can do is sit up and put up nasty posts on social media, Facebook, TikTok, run to YouTube, that's what you were doing when the children were living. You were devoid of emotion, and your obligations and priorities were elsewhere. Because nobody has any business on social media after their child goes missing or found dead. Your priority should be focusing on any other children you have, locating your child, and or when the child is found dead, burying and mourning your child. Not cussing and fussing with people on Facebook posts or YouTube channels. That shows me you never cared for the child because you're not showing any respect for the dead. And if you can't show respect for the dead, you didn't show respect when they were living. I'm going to cut it here. I'm doing no more long lives. God bless all of you. Hope you had a safe weekend. Have a safe week. Please be aware of your surroundings while out. This is the holiday season, so please be aware of everything you're doing. Know that there's always somebody watching and lurking. Do not post your business on social media, what you bought, when you're leaving, where you're going. Do not leave things on the seats, items, purses, parcels. Put everything in your trunk. Unload at home. Go back out if you need to go back to the stores. Do not tell everybody what you're buying, how much you're spending. Do not leave boxes outside your door, garbage cans, to show what you purchased. Do not give the enemy a way to come into your house or hold you up at gunpoint coming in and out. Back your car up to your door and put the boxes in your car and then drive your boxes somewhere else to another dumpster, as not to let people know what you have purchased. And please do not post all those nice electronics to social media, especially when you live in apartments where there's too many people watching and gawking and can have access to your social media pages. And if you live in a home too, it's just as dangerous. Please be aware of your surroundings. As I said, this is the holiday season, and this is the season where people are thirsty and hungry. And they're looking for you to be caught slipping. Make sure you have somebody to pick up your packages during the daytime if you are at work. The pirates will steal your packages. I don't order online. I don't want nothing taken. I don't have time to be chasing down no packages. Thank you all so much for your time. God bless all of you. Once again, if you'd like to donate to this great network, $Beganji129 Cash App. Cash App is mentioned in all my lives. In the description of the video, stickers and chats are welcome as well. Thank you all new subs. Queen is at about 700 new subscribers in about 2 weeks or so. Thank you all for following the content, the dream. God bless all of you. Please be safe. I went on and did a double live so I could cut my time down as so I can enjoy my evening. Please tune in to Tubi. There's a lot of good movies in the queue on the Tubi app. All the movies are free with commercials, of course. So please rush on over to Tubi and find you a nice movie to watch. My weekend movie was Elevator. Belco Experiment was last week. Woo! And let's see, what do I have for this week? I had it on the tip of my tongue as I was watching it. Oh, The Hoarder. It's this week's selection. For those who like movies, this is a thriller horror movie. The Hoarder, now playing on Tubi. You can watch it on your phone or through your Roku device and or Roku TV. Thank you all so very much. Hoarder, The Hoarder, now playing on Tubi, is the movie selection for this week. And I believe I have another one. But maybe I'll bring that one later on in a couple of days. Thank you all so much for following the content. Hello, Diane. Hello, Brittany, Casey, Linda, Chris. Everybody stay safe. Please check out my extensive library of 1,700 plus videos in the queue. I have numerous videos on Camille McKinney Cupcake and her ratchet parents and entities that fell into the storyline. Like all these true crime cases, there's always people falling into the story. They don't have anything to do with the story, but want them 5 minutes of fame. That's when you know that the children had jacked up lives. When you start seeing all these other entities falling into the storyline, they don't have nothing to do with the child. I swear, every case I've talked about, just about pertaining to a kid, they are all the same. I think there's only one case where it wasn't a lot of drama. He said, she said, gossip, and that was Brianna Rose out of Florida. Her mother was a recluse. She didn't hang with anybody. So there weren't a lot of entities jumping in that storyline. But Cal City, Summer Wells, this case here of Quentin Simon, they're all nastily, just nasty. But that shows you the kind of people that they were surrounded by. Biological, adoptive, it's all the same. The wrong people had custody of them. That's why you get all this gossip and he said, she said on social media, see. Because decent people don't behave this way. They have children. 1, they're not going to abuse the children. 2, they're not going to sexually assault the children. 3, they're not going to murder the children. 4, they're not going to use their kids as murderers to kill the children. And 5, they're not going to be on social media during and or after the fact. Because civilized people don't behave that way. Their focus will be the children, not TikTok, Facebook, IG, YouTube, Twitter. Their focus will be raising the children, offering them a good, solid upbringing, having faith in God, taking their kids to church, involving their kids in activities, setting an example, not getting high and tooted up and drunk and staying on social media all damn day. I feel sorry for any child that has a parent that stays on social media. I'm going to say that. It may hurt somebody's feeling that's listening. But if that's all you talk about is social media, what Pookie, Ray Ray, and Bubba did on Facebook, TikTok, you need to be in a zone all by yourself. Because you're missing out on the world. Because I can tell you, there's days I can do without YouTube, Facebook, all of that. You can't let those things define you or your children. Because a lot of people have gotten lost in this social media hub and they can't survive without it. They have to see what everybody's doing and talking about. And that is a dangerous way to live. There's no difference than sitting on the front porch all day long and night, gossiping and watching the neighbors, being in the know, in the who, got something to say. It ain't no different. Too much going on in the world to be stuck on social media. 50 states in the union, thousands of countries to roam outside of this great nation. Nothing but hobbies galore, interests, sports, the arts, entertainment, to be glued to YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, IG. You all have a wonderful week. God bless all of you. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you all for joining me.